Well, boy, do I have a story for you. We've got work to do today, and it isn't work that we necessarily want to be doing. It's work that we have to be doing because, well, let me back up a couple days. So a few days ago, like 3 days ago, was the final day of deer hunting season. And I decided that since I hadn't really gotten to go the entire week prior to that I was going to go deer hunting. Now, if you watch our live streams on Monday nights, you've already heard this story, so I'll try to make it short. But for those of you who don't watch our live streams, first of all, you should be.
Yes.
And second of all, let me tell you the story. I was out in my deer blind and I'm watching the wood line for deer, and there's a wood line that connects to our hayfield. The wooded area actually belongs to our neighbors, and the hayfield obviously is ours. So I watch that wood line because if the deer come out of the woods, they jump into the hayfield and then I can shoot them. Well, I saw something moving in the wood line and I was like, what is that? I can't quite tell. It was far away, so I couldn't tell if it was a deer. So I got my binoculars out and I started to look into the woods, and it was a cow.
One of our cows.
It was one of our cows. Now remember, this is over on the neighbor's piece of land. So then I started looking more with my binoculars, and I started to see more and more and more cows over in the neighbor's land.
Well, it was all of our cows.
Right.
All 17 of our cows had found their way somehow across a fence from the hayfield into the neighbor's wooded lot. And so we had to scurry and get those cows back into the hayfield.
Right. So we think we have found the spot in the fence where they originally got out. But what we ended up having to do that day was we cut a big hole in the fence.
In our fence.
In our fence by the hayfield to get them back into the hayfield. Then we had to quick repair that fence. That put an end to deer hunting season because by that point we had made so much noise out in the woods, there was no way there were any deer coming around. But today we need to go fix the spot that they originally got out of so that now we can move them back into this other area.
Right. We moved them out of the hayfield to begin with because they've eaten it down really well. And we moved them into the paddock here where we are standing so that they could eat down the rest of this grass before we start feeding hay. And so they need to get back over here, finish eating this grass so that we can move them on. So today we need to fix that fence so they don't end up back over into the neighbor's wooded lot, and so they stay where they're supposed to be.
And then after we're done with all of that, we also have another thing we need to work on today. That is, we need to start preparing for our dairy cow, Babe, to have a calf.
She is due anytime in the middle of this month of December. So I want to move her back up to the dairy barn lot so that we can watch her more carefully and so that we have control of where she calves and not like back in the woods somewhere. And also we need to set up our little corral getting into the milking stanchion, and we'll tell you a little bit more about why we need to do that this year like we did last year once we get to that point. But for right now, we need to go figure out the situation with the fence that these cows broke through to get to the neighbor's wooded lot. We need to fix that up so they can get back here and start eating the grass on this side of the fence.
So let's jump in the UTV, go find that hole in the fence, and get it fixed. All right, well, we found the section of fence where the cattle got out. It is right here, and I'm not sure why they even wanted to get out, to be honest, because on the side that we're on, which is our property, there's still quite a bit of grass to eat, and over on this side, you can see there's really nothing over there for them. So I'm not really sure why they wanted to go to the other side of the fence, other than they saw an opening and they just decided to go. But you can see here, there is the field, there's field fencing here. It's not just barbed wire, there's field fencing, and it's been, disconnected from these old wooden poles. Like here's one of the fence posts here. Actually still on the ground, but the fence came off of it. We're gonna replace these today with T-posts instead. I mean, look at, here's one of the old fence posts. I mean, these posts have probably been in the ground for, 60 years or more. And they're still actually pretty dang strong for as old as they are, but we're going to replace them with some metal T-posts today. Well, the good news is that it looks like the fence itself is still in decent shape, so we should be able to just put in some T-posts. I brought 5 T-posts along. That should be more than enough to fix this stretch of fence. We'll get those driven in, and we should be able to just reconnect the existing fence to those new T-posts. And then we should be able to let the cattle back over into this area so we can get started working on the dairy cow situation as well. So we're going to just get these done. Shouldn't take very long at all. Luckily the fence is intact. Should be an easy fix. Well, I want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Reolink. We've actually been using Reolink security cameras here on the homestead for about the past 5 years. So when Reolink reached out to us to see if we would want to test out the new Argus 4 Pro, it was a very easy decision to make. During this time of year, as we're moving into winter, we have a lot more problems with predators coming after our animals on the homestead. Oftentimes it's raccoons. One year we lost 7 ducks to coyotes. We also have things like possums and skunks. And last year while I was out deer hunting, I actually saw 8 bobcats. So we've decided to set up the Argus 4 Pro here in Wattlesville so that we can keep an eye on all of the animals throughout the day and night. A few things that I really like about this Argus 4 Pro is that it has a 180-degree range of view, which means we can keep an eye on this entire area from one single camera. It also has full colored night vision, which makes it great for keeping an eye on everybody as it's getting dark and overnight. I do really like the fact that you can schedule the notifications on the Argus 4 Pro, which means that all day long while the animals are out running around, I'm not getting notified every single time it spots an animal, but overnight, it will alert me if an animal is present here in Wattlesville. This camera can actually send you different alerts based on whether or not it's an animal that was detected, a person, or a vehicle. Having the app on my phone makes it so easy to be alerted, and I can get out here instantly if I see that there is a problem. One thing that was really important to us when looking for another security camera is that it had to be solar powered. And Reolink has made some of the best solar powered cameras out there. I know that the animals here at Wattlesville are all going to be safe. Now that we have the camera installed out here, we can keep an eye on them. Even if we're in town or at church, we can be checking on the animals here in Wattlesville and making sure that everybody is safe. If you want to learn more about Reolink cameras, check out the link in the description below this video. They are running some amazing Black Friday sales. So thanks again to Reolink for sponsoring today's video.
Well, the cows have heard us making a commotion back here, and they have come to figure out what is going on. To me, it looks like they have guilty expressions on their faces, like they knew they did wrong. Or they realize that by going into the woods next door, they abandoned all of this amazing grass. I mean, I know there's some dead weeds in here, but you guys, there's like 12-inch long grass here that you guys need to eat, but you can't eat it over there. So they are being nosy, and we're gonna fix this as fast as we can so they can get back over here and eat this grass.
Right in there. Well, I sure am glad that we have the gas-powered post driver, because this is some rocky ground right here. This goes down. I don't know if you guys can tell on video, but this is a big. It heads down into a holler here, and there's a big drop-off right on the other side of that tree over there. And when you get areas like this around here, it's almost solid rock. Luckily, we were able to get the T-posts in. The very last one didn't go in super far, but it went in far enough. So this will be a good sturdy fence once again when we're done.
So now we're just gonna go along to each of these T-posts and use T-post clips. They will clip the fencing back onto something that's gonna keep the cows out of the woods and over here on our side.
Well, the fence is all fixed. The fence itself actually was in really good shape yet, so that saves a lot of work. That makes me happy because it's cold out today. You guys, we woke up this morning, it was 13 degrees when we got up this morning, and it's, even though it's warmed up a little bit, it's still pretty cold. And I always wear fingerless gloves when I'm working because I need to be able to feel things, but my fingers are pretty darn cold right now. Anyway, this turned out pretty good. Fence is nice and tall again. It's, you know, up to here. This should keep the cows in, and hopefully this will be the last time they ever go explore those woods. All right, we're going to jump in the UTV. We're going to drive over to where the gate is, the same gate that we let them through on the last video, and we're going to try this again, letting them over into this area. All right, we'll meet you at the gate. Well, here they come. They knew where the gate was. Now, if you remember on the last video, we had a situation where one of the calves would not come through the gate. She did finally later that day come through the gate. But we're going to try something a little different in hopes that this time she'll just come with everybody else right away. And that is, we're going to wait till everybody's lined up at the gate and excited to come, and then hopefully she'll just follow everyone else through. Last time we opened the gate before they were all ready, and I think that was part of the problem. Come on, over here. Come on. You know where the gate is. All right, here we go. Come on, let's try this again.
That's everybody.
All right, well, they are back to where we want them to be. The fence is fixed. So we're going to go in, warm up for a few minutes, and then get started on the dairy barn. All right, you guys enjoy your grass.
Well, on to the second project of the day. Now, we told you at the beginning of the video that in just a couple of weeks, our dairy cow, Babe, is due to calf. And we have gone through one full cycle or one full year of lactation with her or milking her twice a day, then once a day, until it was the appropriate time to dry her off so that she could have another calf. Now, at the time that I was just starting to dry her off, we did some changes in the dairy barn lot here. And she got really spooked, and she got to the point where she wouldn't get up on the milking stanchion anymore, and she actually was afraid to even come into this dairy barn lot altogether. I just took that as the opportunity just to completely dry her up and stop milking, and we haven't tried to get her up on the milking stanchion since then. There is a possibility that she may still be too scared to get up on the milking stanchion. Because of that, I am thinking we're going to have to set up the entire training pen like we did to train her to get on the milking stanchion the very first time. But before we go through all of that work, we are going to try to see if we can just get her up on the milking stanchion. Maybe she's forgotten all about being spooked going up there, and that is my hope. So we're going to first put some grain in this bucket. I'm going to try to call her up onto the milking stanchion and see if she gets up there. If she doesn't, we'll try to do some more coaching and coaxing to try to get her up there. But in the end, if we can't get her up on the milking stanchion today, we're going to set up the training corral so that we can start moving her toward that very quickly, so that by the time she calves, we can start milking right away. Well, I have some feed in her bucket. This bucket ultimately hangs right here, and she eats from it once she gets into the stanchion. So I'm going to go out there, show her that I have this, and hopefully she will follow me up and she'll get right into the stanchion. That's what we're really hoping. If it doesn't, then we need to work on plan B. Good girl. Good girl. Come on. Come on. Here. This way. Girl. Look. Come on. Well, that didn't work out. I had a feeling she wouldn't get up on the milking stanchion. So now plan B is to set up a temporary corral. We have 4 corral panels and a gate that we'll be using just to create a temporary corral around here that will lead into the milking stanchion. We kind of have an alley, a short little alley that we have created in there. And that is last year how we got her up on the milking stanchion.
Yeah, it's just kind of a hodgepodge of parts that we have laying around to try to make this work. But that's how we originally trained her to get on the stanchion. So hopefully it'll work again this year. It's just going to take some time to basically retrain her to get up onto the stanchion.
So we're hoping it shouldn't take too long for us to recreate that. We're going to get started.
So the first thing that we need to do is we need to attach this corral panel to the side of the stanchion here, and this basically creates an alleyway that we can start feeding her in, and then we'll slowly start inching her up further and further onto the milking stanchion. So we had this set up like this last year. I'm trying to remember exactly how we did everything last year because I just kind of made it up last year too. So I'm basically just going to use some of my plumbing hanger to attach this here. Really, we just need it to stand up. You know, she's not going to be super hard on any of this, so it doesn't have to be super robust. We just need this to stand up. Once I get this attached, then we'll move on to adding some of the other parts.
Do you want to start on this side, or do you want to start on the inside?
Start on this.
Now, this gate here, we're actually going to be using that gate to close the corral here. We're going to hopefully attach it right here so that as it opens, it will also kind of stop here and prevent her from being able to just like walk right in the open side of the barn. We don't want her to be able to get in trouble in there. But when we close it, it will also allow us a pathway to get into the barn. So hopefully that will work out. Now, this kind of gate is not really made to be attached to panels like this, so we might need to just kind of figure out how we're going to do that. But we used the same kind of system last year, and we figured out a way to make it work. Okay, so we have our temporary corral all set up. This gate can just open like this. And the first part of my training will be to get her to come inside of here to eat. So I will coax her in and basically just put the bucket of feed in here so she can come in here and eat, and she at least gets used to being in this enclosed area. At first, when I'm feeding her, I'll just keep that green gate open so she doesn't feel stuck or trapped in here. And then over time, I will start feeding her closer and closer to the alleyway. Having her in a smaller location where she can't like run all around a bigger area will give me more of an opportunity to start basically pushing her up through the alley. Now, we have some long boards inside the barn that once we get her in the alley, we can put boards across here so that she can't just back up and get out. Then as she moves forward into here, we can move those to this next spot here. And this is exactly what we did last year. And then as she moves forward even more into the stanchion, we can then do a similar thing here. I have a board here so that she can't back out of the stanchion. And that's just how we will start working on it. We've got anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to get this training done with. So I think that if I practice with her twice a day, that she'll be ready to go by the time she calves, and we can start milking her right away. Now, this setup that we've just set up does prevent us from shutting this barn door. It's not the most ideal. We would really like this shut all the time because, this is going to allow small animals to get in and out of here and stuff like that. And when I milk, it's going to be quite a bit windier and colder, but it's just what we have to do temporarily until we can get her used to coming into the milking barn and the stanchion and all that kind of thing. So hopefully that'll only last a couple of weeks and we can just move on and have the door shut and everything will be great.
Well, you sure never know what life is going to bring at you when you wake up and you're living on a homestead. We sure didn't think that all of our cattle were going to escape and that we'd spend part of the day having to fix a fence today. And we certainly didn't think that our dairy cow was going to untrain herself how to be milked, but apparently that can happen as well.
In the end, everything will be fine, and then tomorrow we'll wake up and there will probably be more things that we didn't anticipate, because that is just homestead life, that's just farm life.
You guys, I hope you enjoyed spending the day with us today, just getting some work done around the homestead. It is getting chilly out here. The sun is starting to get low in the sky, and I think in the last hour it's probably dropped 20 degrees. It's getting cold and the wind is picking up. So we are going inside to sit by the fire for a while and warm up before dinner. You guys, if you're not a subscriber to the channel yet, I sure hope you'll hit that subscribe button before you leave. And most importantly, remember that the best way you can help us is by giving this video a thumbs up and sharing it with other people that you think may like it.
Until next time, thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.